Hey, what's slicing everybody? Chris back with CIC Knives with another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you with today. This here was a very limited Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive. And just like all anodized titanium, we're going to get a close-up of this before we start getting into the review. I will admit it does look a lot better in person, and especially in sunlight. That flame is a lot more prevalent. The flame lines there on the titanium. Basically what this is this show side scale is a heated piece of titanium, and I believe he's the CEO actually of Smoky Mountain Knife Works, did some form of heating to create these cool lines. I don't know if he used a torch. I'm not 100% sure what he used, but it looks very cool. I'm doing my best to show it off on the camera, but like I said, there's only so much you can do with real flame titanium like this. That was done by hand and not in a factory. If I didn't mention it already, this is the CRKT Tuna. This is the exact model number here. And yes, it was made in China. Comes with the usual CRKT stuff, which is not much. There's what the original scale looked like. And just for some quick reference, that is what the knife looks like right out of the box if you got the original version of this knife. Now, this knife does have quite an upcharge to it, and we will get into that in the review. But I do very much like this knife. And as a quick side note at the beginning of the video, if somebody knows where you can buy aftermarket pocket clips, please let me know. Because I cannot find any for this model, unfortunately. I wish I could, but yeah, as of right now, I cannot. So that's very unfortunate. But anyways, what we have here is 8CR 13 MOV steel for the blade, and I know that is not good at all. That's pretty low quality steel. We have a secondary market or custom titanium show side scale that has been flamed by hand at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. We have kind of, I don't know what color you'd say between orange and brown is, but that's kind of what color the pivot rings are, as well as the back spacer. And then we have a black stonewashed blade, as well as a black stonewashed pocket clip side, or black wash if you want to call it. And this is a Framelock running on washers. Very smooth opening, but the closing, of course, you got to kind of, if it's very, very recently lubed up, I can kind of get it to drop shut a little better. I think the pivot ball, as with most knives, like what I like to tell people, is a lot of times it's not even in the pivot, but it's more the ball. There's always a ball down in the locking mechanisms on a knife like this, as opposed to things like button locks, which don't have to worry about them. With knives like this, there's always a ball down there, and in case you didn't know, it actually helps as much a lot of the time lubing up that little ball in there, or even taking it out. Some people take it out as opposed to lubing the actual pivots. I do apologize if you hear some people in the background. My daughter and wife are home while I'm making this video, so. But let's get some measurements and get some knife comparisons, and then we will get into the full review of this knife. So what we have here for the CRKT Tuna, it's been out for a little while, and this model, at least on Smoky Mountain Knife Works website, this exact configuration is sold out at the time of this recording. They may do more, they may not. I am not 100% sure on that. But yeah, they might do some more. We have what looks to be a almost 3 1/4 inch cutting edge there. If you count the curve, it probably is 3 1/4 inches, I would say. The blade itself is almost right at 3.5 right here inches, and the knife overall is about 7 3/4, maybe a tad bit under that. So it's a pretty full-size knife. I mean, if we bring out the classics here, the originals, you will see that the tuna is a little bit bigger than average, I would say. Not too much bigger, but a little bit. Yep, just a little bit on blade and a little bit on handle, which is fine because I think the average is a tad bit too small. So we'll go ahead and bring out the good old Ontario rat here, the smaller one. And let's bring out the Dimco 8020.5. And then for an added reference, I've like to start doing this. I'd like to do it more often. Let's bring out a good old Rough Rider Trapper here, just so people, I know some people watch my channel like classic knives as well. So let's show you what it looks like compared to one of those. Now, with knives that are flamed, I've noticed there's 3 different colors of flaming. The last kind I plan on getting at the end of the year on kind of a premium knife, more premium knife, when I get my bonus. There's this kind, which is kind of more metalish, done by hand. And then there's this kind that I believe is done more so in a factory. And as you can see, they are very different. This was clearly just one level of heat that went through the whole knife and created the same color, where, you know, this, you can tell there's parts in the flaming where the flame was, you know, touching the metal more, like for longer periods of time. There's different shades in the flame. That's definitely a lot harder to see on camera than in person. There you can kind of see it there. You see the little, see how it kind of has a different shade right there, you know, on the edges. That just means the flame probably hit those different amounts of time. But yeah, it looks very cool. Now, the CRKT Tuna, this exact model generally sells for $30 to $35 in most places. And it is readily available, so you can get the original version. They release flame knives periodically. I know they've done a CRKT CEO. I know they've done a 0 tolerance model, and they've done this one. I don't know what the next model will be, but currently all their custom flame job knives, except for the 0 tolerance, are sold out at the moment. So that knife is a lot more expensive. I think this one and the CRKT sold out because they're a lot more affordable. The 0 tolerance one is definitely above $200 if you want to get that one, but it does look equally as cool as this one. So without further ado, let's get into the full knife review at 8 minutes and 30 seconds into the video. It's just how it goes sometimes. Fit and finish. We're going to keep in mind with a lot of these points that we are using a titanium customized scale here as opposed to the original. I don't know if it's G10 or micarta. Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's G10. So the original scale was G10, and now we have a titanium scale. So it's going to weigh a little more. It's likely to be a little less grippy, as G10 is, but a lot more durable, and, you know, a lot more, what's the word? A lot more customizable, because you could definitely take this finish off, right? And then re-anodize it or do whatever you want with it. So, but as far as CRKT's fit and finish goes, usually I find things on CRKT knives where their fit and finish was a little off, but honestly on this one, I have yet to find that. And I think their fit and finish of this knife is actually spot on. I have not found anything personally that is wrong with the fit and finish, and I have actually cleaned this one up and lubed this one up once. So If I found anything, I probably would have found it then. But yeah, I would say fit and finish gets a 10 out of 10. Price for the materials and the work. Now, this is going to be really hard to do on this. I think the original price of $30 to $35 for CRKT as a company, and, you know, for as good as this knife is, it was just more of a basic average knife. I mean, I know they black-washed the blade, black-washed the handle, whatever. I would have liked to see it at about $25, but, you know, we can't nitpick $5 too much. I mean, 8CR13 MOV is a crap steal. It just really is. It's the lowest budget out there, but, you know, $30 for a knife is not that much either. So, I mean, Senkut's using 8CR13 MOV on some of their knives as well, and they charge a little bit more. So, you know, you could definitely argue in that perspective for sure. But adding this scale on here, so I do need to do an updated video here soon on what makes a knife worth its price. I think that's changed since the one that I did early last year. I don't think a lot's changed, but some things have changed. So this full titanium aftermarket scale, I would say just plain gray, it probably costs between $20 to $30, okay? So that's instantly making the price up to, you know, $65, okay? So we got, what's that, $25 more that we're paying for them to do some custom work here. I don't think that's too bad of a price at all. I would say maybe it's about $10 over, but, you know, when we're talking things being customized afterwards, you know, usually you're going to be paying more of a premium price for things that are customized afterwards. And so I understand why it's $90. I really do. It's no different than if you were going to customize anything else on the aftermarket. You know, a lot of times I could bring out my knife that Colin did, and, you know, Colin does more work than this, of course, but he usually charges, you know, $110 to $150 to do like grinding and anodizing on knife scales. So, and that's the knife already coming with full titanium. This knife, you're buying a titanium scale and you're buying the afterwork for about $60 roughly. So I think the price is about spot on compared to other workers, other customized parts. You know, you got Flightanium out there, you got, heck, Lynch, the clip company. These clips are usually $30 to $35 just for a, you know, customized clip. And, you know, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Both of these were done in America though, so you gotta take that also into account. And they were customized by Americans. I don't know if this scale was made in America, but it was customized in America. So where does this leave us for the price for the materials and the work? Well, I think, remember when we were talking about price for things like this, when they're customized, that's more of a, is it worth it to you question. To me, it is. Do I think it was probably $10 overpriced? Probably. But, well, did I still pay for it anyways? Yes, I did, because I liked it enough. So it kind of becomes up to you and how you want your collection to look. If you are a collector like me and you're not buying it just to be a user, things like that, you're going to understand what I said and you're going to understand what I mean. So I will give it a 9.5 out of 10 for the price. Just, we'll leave that half point off just because of the fact that, you know, people that aren't collectors that are just looking at that, it probably is about $10 overpriced. So, smooth action fidgetivity. Well, I can reverse flick it very easily. So that's good. It's not a drop shutter because it's, you know, washers can be drop shutty, but this one is not. Keep in mind, is originally a budget knife. That is how they were able to keep this price down as low as they were, even with the customization on it. You can also thumb flick it. I'm not the best thumb flicker, but oh yeah, I got it. Look at me go with the thumb flick action. Yeah. any other knife hobbyists out there, reverse flicking just is our second nature. And the times that I'm failing, I'm usually on the Framelock. It's a lot harder to do certain things with knives when you're on the camera. But other knife collectors out there, reverse flick just becomes the thing for us. So honestly, flicking out with thumbs has actually become more difficult for me, but I'm sure for a lot of people, they'll use that. They'll use the thumb flick more than the reverse flick. Both are very comfortable. Like I said, you will not drop. You probably will not be able to get this knife to drop shut. So I guess it's going to lose points for that in the fidgetivity category, but it is smooth. It's very smooth. You know, slow, really easy. It feels good. So we'll go 9.5 out of 10 again, just for the fact that it doesn't drop shut. Sure, you could really mess with it, make it drop shut. I personally like it how it is, but ease of carry, lightweight. It is pretty heavy. I will say that now. Though, you know, the original knife was definitely lighter than this because the original knife had a G10 scale. So again, it becomes kind of hard to judge. With this piece of titanium, it did make it a little bit heavier. And considering it's aftermarket titanium clip, it is not milled out on the inside. So most of these companies, their titanium scales, most of these companies, when they have titanium scales, they mill them, but where this was a custom aftermarket titanium scale, it is not milled out. So it definitely is heavier, though I definitely don't have a problem carrying it in my pocket at all. Hardly anything sticks out there. You know, the knife comes to about there. So a little bit of orange sticks out, but considering orange is my favorite color, I don't mind that at all. So yeah, could be lighter weight. No titanium aftermarket clip. We'll give this one an 8.5 out of 10. Easy to maintain. Well, this is where it's going to hurt for the knife. It's got a double pivot. Uh-oh. Most pain in the butt things ever. Why companies do this, I do not know. It is such a pain. It makes it twice as hard to take the knife apart, in my opinion, because you gotta hold one side in place while you unscrew the other side, and it's a hassle that doesn't need to be there. I guess in a way you could say it helps keep the knife together better, but you know, this knife has, you know, the pin on the top, and it has 2 screws connecting the back spacer, so I think it'd be okay to stay together without needing that. But so yeah, it's not going to be the easiest thing to take apart. Granted, it doesn't have a liner inside, so you just have the 2 pieces of frame there, which is one advantage of the Framelock. You don't have as much crap to deal with when you take it apart. Just got the 2 scales and screws, pretty much. So not too much to deal with there. Yeah, we're gonna have to give her probably a 7 out of 10, just because of that double pivot. That's just something I really hate, and I feel it's very unnecessary. If you guys have a different opinion, let me know, but I've never felt it was necessary. Like, why do we need that double pivot? But what do you guys think? Is this knife with the customization, do you guys think that makes it worth $90? I understand that's more of an aesthetic decision, but I want to know what your guys' opinions on this is. Do you guys like the look of flamed titanium? I will be doing a review on this TEFCON shortly. Man, I'm just failing all around today, and with the openings. I will be doing a review on that shortly. I've noticed nobody on YouTube has done a review on that knife, which is surprising because it's been out a little while. Probably a little over a year at least. But anyways, yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.